Just do the whole stream on that screen. What if can I do this? This is how I'm doing stream now.
So this is the thing that I did, and it looks kind of chill. It looks pretty chill. I actually really like it. This is basically what it is. I'm gonna break down every single thing. I'm not just going through like what I did in Cinema 4D or anything like that. I'm actually gonna go through the deck and everything. I already asked Sonja, who said yes, I can like broadcast it and show the world what I did in order to get to this point. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna start. This is her original starting soon screen, which is really funny. For those of you who don't know who this is Paul Blart, and this was basically what she was using this entire time for her starting soon screen. But yeah, this is basically what she started with, and she was like, I don't want that. So then when I was doing my whole like putting thing and all that stuff, a year ago, she was like, hey, do you want to do a starting soon screen? This is what it was before. What she wanted was something like this. She gave me an MS Paint sort of example. So here, there's a starting soon animation. There's a Twitch chat. There's the Apple logo, which for some reason is at the side. Now that I look at it, I don't know why it's at the side. Plants, a chair, cool gamer lighting, you know, subtle animations, coffee, steam, phone flashing, food, anything, and an Astro headset because that's her affiliate. Window with some kind of animation, whatever. Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah. This is what I was going through. This is my research and everything. I just went through all of these references and things like that. There's all these like 8-bit sort of stuff. There's the stuff that's sort of more my style. And there's a lot of like back screens. Like you can tell here, this is very much for like Twitch chat and everything like that. It's got that lo-fi studying girl thing going on, and the lighting, and it's like really like just like sunset-ish sort of thing. I have a deck. I actually have a deck. Like this is the actual deck that I sent over before we kicked this off. This is a deck, and this is how I presented it to her. Although no, I didn't. I just sent it to her. Okay, so OMG, it's Firefox. Amazing streamer. And also, super chill person. So this is all the references that she sent me. The starting student screen, which I showed you before. And she sent me a bunch of this stuff. She really likes like Windows 98 era sort of graphics. Or talk about like .exe and the close button, the window button, and all that stuff. Which is super cool. And then we have these like sort of like, oh, it's on a computer, it's a daytime, you see all the lighting and stuff. I was going to get a style proposal. So this is essentially the style that I'm boasting, since she liked my pudding stuff. Style proposal, but more sparkly, because she wanted something sparkly in a conversation that we had. Sparkly, what does sparkly mean? I didn't want sparkly to be like, okay, glittery, like this sort of like, oh, star glow, everything like that, you know? Like that's really cliche. I didn't want to go there. So I interpreted it sparkly as iridescent, more harsh lighting color, you know? And a little bit more colorful. And like refractions and stuff like that. That's the way I interpreted it, because I didn't want the cliche sort of star glow stuff which you see all around. Like it's a little bit too cliche. I wanted something a little bit more unique. So Windows interface. I told you that she really likes Windows 98 sort of graphics. And so this is all the stuff that I found. So now we have a mock-up. I took Sonja's MS Paint and I did a really shit iPad sort of drawing. I wanted to like show like the lighting and how it works. So here we have like this sort of like underlying lighting over here to like light up the seat and everything and give it a little bit of blue, while also having this stream of like really nice and yellow, orange almost sunset light that will hit there. Great. So that's basically what it is for the deck, and then we just started working on it. So this was what I started off with. This was the final result of that C4D file. And so it's just mocking up the lighting and everything and like getting that some sort of stuff to work. I mocked up the computer and the coffee mug and the phone and the seat, because that's one of the more important things. This was the first pass? Yes, it was. It was the first pass. It was just to show her what I had so far. We weren't really communicating as much, but I needed to show her something. And I think the best thing to show so far is the lighting and all the most important like elements. So the most important elements to her was really the headset, the phone, the cup, and the Mac. There is an overall HDRI with this thing. I think if I zoom out enough, you can probably see it. There you go. This is the HDRI. It is an absolutely crazy HDRI. And what it looked like is this. This is the HDRI. This is what it looked like. So we have a cube right here. And so an HDRI is basically a light that surrounds the scene. Like a giant globe. If I grab this HDRI, there you go. So you can see the reflections and everything and all of the colors and stuff. And here you can actually manipulate the saturation, the gamma, whatever the heck. It's basically a giant dome light, a giant sphere of light that encapsulates your entire environment. And there's actually multiple domes of light. If I just turn off everything except for the main dome. So this main dome actually doesn't do jack shit. It just includes the room. Like this room is the only thing it's affecting. Then this room dome is the rest of it, like everything else. As you can see here, this area, how there's like little streaks of like lights over here. It's simply just multiple area lights. As you can see, these are just area lights that I stacked on top of each other. So that way it kind of mimics like gamer light sort of stuff. Now we can speed up, which is basically the final scene. She was like, oh, this is great, keep going. And I was so encouraged that I literally finished the entire scene. Basically everything's somewhat textured now. I was going back and I was looking at all the references he had, and here is like, oh, we see the bookshelves, oh, we see some posters. So I added those subtle details. So here we actually have books here, which is very subtle. You can almost never see it, and the posters in the background, which are a bunch of memes. You can see Sanja, which has Shrek behind her. We changed this to her cat. And then we have blinds, which I don't think anyone really sees, and fairy lights as well. No one really sees it, like or notices it at first glance. But it's like really nice touches that you can add to your scene, like just to give it life. Because everyone is going to concentrate on this, but then if it's just this, like people will think it looks off. The city is actually like a bunch of like just cloners, which is super funny. And then I added a light to it in the back in order to like give it that sort of really nice highlight. So you see here with like it's really nice sort of highlights here to make it look like a city block and stuff. And also this lovely hanging plant. So this plant is just like a bunch of like helixes here and cloners. So here we can see there's a cloner here, cloner here, cloner here. Work smart, not hard. Hell yeah, exactly. Work smart, not hard. There's just a bunch of cloners using helixes, so that way it scatters like a little bit nicely. So this is the spline that I use in order to get these cloners out. This one leaf is basically what I used in order to clone it. And so it scatters. We see here as well, this is also the spline in order to create this sort of like viney sort of thing. And you see there's this bend thing, and this bend is actually animated just to bend the overall everything. You can see the actual cloner here. Here we go. So there's no physics involved because I also needed to loop. So in order to have it loop, I need to control the animation. And the reason why I do like not physics stuff, like why didn't I rig this up and then like started using like physics simulations, is because I needed absolute control. Even if this is not a looping thing, keyframes always gives you the most control. And even though it's a little bit of a hassle, it's better. For example, if you're physically simulating something and it goes wrong and you gotta like tweak a little bit of settings and then simulate it again, and then it just doesn't work. This is just like full control. I have this plant, which is all literally bend deformers. Here is all literally just all bend deformers. And work smart, not hard, right? Only the leaves that you see on screen is the ones that I animate, because I don't care about everything else. So here he goes. This is all the leaves. Oh, you can see here, this photo actually has a couple of lights on it. Okay. So here, before there is no lighting, and then now there is lighting. You can see those little streaks. And just to give it a little bit more stuff to look at, because it was really bland before, and I wanted to give it a little bit more life. Is the material itself just a metal texture? Yes, it is. Yeah, so this is a metal texture. You can see on this one, let me see if I can open it up. This photo frame is just a metal texture. So that way it like reflects all the really, really nice lighting that is all around it. And I love that stuff. Like even this chair is like somewhat metal texture-y. Like this MacBook. Actually, I put some lights around the side. This keyboard is completely made out of a metal texture because I wanted to reflect everything, every single really nice highlights and everything. And most of these are a combination of metal textures. Actually, it's a really good, cool idea. So what is their IQR? IOR? IQR? It's IOR. It is the refraction index of different like glass materials. IOR of water is 1.333. So if you're doing like like water, for example, is 1.333. It's basically like a see-through thing. So glass has a 1.5 to 1.7 IOR. So here, if we change it to like 1.5, that would be glass. And you can see the refraction index is changing. And then it said something about diamond. Diamond is a refraction index of 2.418. There you go, diamond. All right, see? Yeah. But essentially what I'm doing, as you can see here, you see reflectiveness, it's kind of gray. But if I crank up the IOR, it actually just cranks up the reflectiveness of the material. And that's basically what I use it for. If I add the IQR to 3, which is its maximum, I think like you can keep going. If you keep going, it just adds to reflectiveness until it's fully reflective. And that's basically how I use it. And now I can change the color to whatever the fuck I want. Water. So now we have nighttime. Nighttime is very interesting. She wanted a like stream over sort of a screen as well, which is similar to the starting soon screen. So here is basically the nighttime one. Actually is a cheat because it's exactly the same lighting setup, except I just changed all the colors. So this is the room dome, and you can see it's actually more blue and stuff, but that's because I changed up the hue over here. So originally it was at 0. It was like normal hue. So this is basically what it looked like. It was like a little bit more purpley magenta. It's got some like spots of yellow and things like that. But then I changed it to 295, which is basically going backwards, which is making it more blue. And that's what gives it this blue. So now all the orange stuff has turned magenta. There's some green here. Really nice spots of color. It's really, really nice. So I did it to basically every single light that shows up in the previous scene. And even the background is treated the same way. And then that's it. And I also made everything floating. I don't know why, but I really like that idea. So now we can head on to compositing, which is probably my favorite part. After Effects. After Effects. What is After Effects? After Effects is the best thing in the world. This plant is the only thing that's moving in this area. So is this plant. This plant is the only thing, and the chair. And then this is her cat. Nothing moves except these two plants and the chair. Everything else is going to be in compositing because I want to be as versatile as possible. So this is where all the comp comes in. It's like, oh, there's a ton of comp and everything like that, okay? Some people are scared of comp. Don't skip comp. Never skip comp. Compositing is one of the key parts of this. Motion graphics, whatever, what have you, okay? 3D, okay? Compositing is key. Do not skip it. So first thing I did was actually, I came here. So you can see here, it actually changes in hue because I wanted something different every single time. And obviously I don't want to animate this in C4D. It's because what have I hated? I rendered it like overnight, high quality. I look it up, it sucks. That would be horrible. So I did this in After Effects. It gives me more control. It gives me the saturation, what kind of saturation I want and everything. And I think it looks pretty well. It looks pretty good. Big brain decisions. It seems like it. It's not really. It really is just like thinking ahead. The background was basically using particular and having it like come on and stuff. And then these are like different hues. That is the color hue of the background. And that basically drives the color and the placement of the particles. And what I'm doing is I'm basically fading it in and fading it out near the end. So that way it kind of like gives it a little bit of a seamlessness, and that I put it in the background. Then we have this smoke. I did the same thing, basically. The steam that I was using is basically a particular, and I had this hexagon, which actually is all done in particular. I don't want to go through the process. It's been a long time since I've done it, but that's basically what I did. I made it trail off and basically made it loop. And then I basically put it on top of my cup, a couple of bevels and stuff. And then here I just add a mug mask. Boom. Easy. That's it. And then now we have, this is very simple phone light up screen, which just turns on and off. Then we have the Windows interface, which is this giant ass big boy. If I will solo one of these things. So this is actually all shape layers. These are all shape layers that I just painstakingly like created. So see, these are actually made out of shapes. So that way, if I ever needed to resize it, I'll just grab all these points and just move them over. And so that way it doesn't change the scale of the icons or anything like that, but it changes the scale of the window. Also, another thing, you can see that these have like pixels. You can see that they're like really sharp. Like you can see it steps. It doesn't actually do any anti-aliasing. And that's basically because over here, you see where my mouse is. Over here, there's like this and so now this is aliasing. This is aliasing really hard. I don't want that. I want it to step because I want it to mimic the Windows 98 sort of style. That's why I have the step. And so that's why we see these like little like steps here instead of like proper anti-aliasing. And that's basically it. That is great because now I will composite this. So like, for example, if she said, oh, actually we don't want this anymore because it looks shit. She'll never say that. Copium. Basically, I'll just hide it and then I'll go back to my main comp and boom, it's no longer there. How did you extrude the smiley? It's a meme. I downloaded the GIF online. It's an actual meme. Screenshot my NFT. So this is a reflection pass, which I think is one of the most important passes you'll ever find. This is one of the passes you can get as part of your 3D render if you select your passes properly. It's very subtle, but you can tell here that there's like some form of reflection happening in the background. I didn't want it to like overpower the starting soon screen, but like I want it just a little bit so that way it gives it some sort of life. So this is another reflection pass only on the side here because I wanted to accentuate the Astro headset, which we will then add here. So without that reflection, it won't look as like merged together. You can see it kind of looks like it's just on top of it and not really a part of the screen. But if I added the reflection back, it gives it that sort of really nice sort of hue. Then we have, you know, I guess your very average contrast, vignette, and then haloing. This haloing is really fun. I like haloing. What haloing does is like, so this is on screen. I'll put on normal. So basically I put it on really high contrast here. I added a Gaussian blur. I put a tint on it and then I used the add. So that way it gives it like a certain haloing effect. You can see here, turn it off, nothing. Turn it back on, gives it a nice red warm feel. Like I really love that. What should I talk about next? The header decks. I guess I could. So she also asked me to do headers and sub notifications. We'll use the same sort of theme that we had with Windows 98 sort of interface. And then we'll just add to all this stuff. What's fun about it was I didn't jump into Cinema 4D at all. None of it was Cinema 4D. In fact, all the text is done in After Effects. So this me is actually 3D. This is a 3D text. And it's perfect because After Effects' like 3D graphics is kind of rudimentary, but in a way it is perfect. It is absolutely perfect for my thing. You know the word like 3D art stuff? What was it called? Give me PTSD of MSN. Exactly. That's exactly the sort of thing we were trying to go for. Was it word art? I forgot what it was called. Oh yeah, word art. If you give yourself some nostalgia here. When you are in like middle school or primary school, however you are. Word art, dude, absolutely amazing. I love this stuff so much. Although like this stuff is a little bit like really rudimentary. But there's some that are really, really nice. Like this like metal one, I love it so much. The bowling screen vibes, yeah, it does. It's super, super fun. So I decided to do that. So yeah, all this window sizing is exactly the same as I described before. Shape layers in order to like resize it and everything, which is really fun. And that's basically it. This is the breakdown of this entire project. And it was really, really fun to do. This is like really amazing. I absolutely love it. I adore it. There's like a whole bunch of 2D and 3D things that I've done. I learned a lot of new things from this. So like, thank you, Sanja, basically, for having me on this project. It was really, really fun, and overall I learned a lot. I learned a lot about my own style, learned a lot about like a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, that's basically it.
I feel like I really needed it. I really needed like a good refresh. So with all the headers down below, there's a new offline screen, new starting soon screen. I love how the chat actually pops up in a little chat box. We kept Paul. You can see Paul there. He's still hanging out. Don't worry. Look at the plants. Like the way the plants sway. Oh yeah, the lights. Yeah, you can see the lights under the desk. Some RGB shit. I'm so happy with this. I'm so stoked. So yeah, he absolutely nailed it. I'm super stoked. Isn't the GTR the wrong color? Nope.